1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, I love counting, whatever the amount.
Hello everybody, it's the Lawn Gnome, and welcome to another episode of 10 for 12. This, of course, is the December 10 for 12, meaning that it is the last 10 for 12 of the year. One of the few things that I have noticed, especially when it comes to December, but why would I just notice this? Seems to be a tradition everywhere, especially on YouTube. The culmination of the past year. 12 months, almost 365 days, a lot has happened. And I feel that this will be my last 10 for 12 every year. So I give to you guys today 10 events that shaped 2013. Might not necessarily be for you, but it surely is for me. Of course, the first thing that I want to talk about is The Little Prince. We all know what a big impact the royal wedding of William and Kate was, but the whole world was watching when the Prince George was born. Now, I think the most hysterical part was around the same time was when my niece was going to be born, or had already been born. So the fact that it was happening around the same time made it so much more of an exciting time for me, because I was saying, one way or another, there's going to be a baby coming that I am going to hear about. And the good thing is, at least one of them is a baby that I get to see as often as possible and truly hold dear to my heart, and she is just adorable. And number 9 was a very important thing for me because it's the opening of the Freedom Tower. Of course, as a New Yorker, when 9/11 happened, I mean, yes, the whole world was in shock, but as a New Yorker, to go into the city or see the city skyscrapers and see that the Twin Towers aren't there anymore, especially since being a New Yorker all my life and never actually going to the Twin Towers, it hit me really hard because this was a staple of New York that I never truly appreciated and just always took for granted, and it's gone. So when I finally saw the Freedom Tower for the first time, all lit up and absolutely wonderful, I've definitely decided that this is going to be something that I need to cherish, and I am hoping in the next year or two that I will take a trip to the Freedom Tower and see the memorial for the Twin Towers, and just see myself really filled with happiness and joy knowing that never again will I take something that is a part of my life for granted. Number 8, probably one of the most upsetting things, it's sports related. It's the fact that the steroids have pretty much destroyed, or at least sullied, the name of baseball, especially earlier this year when no major baseball star was elected into the Hall of Fame, and that included some of the best names in baseball that were never really linked to steroids in the first place. Personally, as a Mets fan, Mike Piazza was one of them, and I was really upset that he couldn't get into the Hall of Fame this year, and pretty much you want to put a face on that whole event, it's Alex Rodriguez. A guy who gets all this money to be a positive role model, just shows us I am really not perfect. And it just makes me, as a fan of sports, say, why do you need to do something like this? Like, what is going through your mind when you realize that you may get caught one day? What is it going to show towards your family, your friends, and more importantly, your fans? Number 7, the book sensation that was gripping the nation went all the way from 2012 to 2013, and that is 50 Shades of Grey. This is the book I've never read. This is a book series I never intend to read. But all I remember is sitting around before I went back to school with a bunch of coworkers talking about this book. All males, by the way. Some of them with significant others, talking about how their significant others were reading the books, and how they were discussing with them a couple of the things that were quite interesting to the female mind, and how they wouldn't be upset in having it actually done to them. And of course, the icing on the cake is the fact that the movie is coming out, and I'm sure that all of these fans are basically going to have another Twilight epidemic, because I don't see this movie really becoming anything major. It's just going to be another one of those overly hyped franchises. I mean, look, 50 Shades of Grey fans out there, post your comments, let me know your thoughts. Number 6 goes to another sullied moment in our year, and that is the whole event of Anthony Weiner running for the mayor of New York City. A guy who basically claimed everything that he truly was not, and when he did that whole explosion when he was on CNN or some major news station, I can't remember offhand, just the things that were coming out of his mouth You're a politician, for crying out loud. You don't talk like a drunken frat boy, especially when you're on television, supposed to be acting as a government professional, and you're being watched by millions of people. Just crawl back into your hidey hole and never show your face again. We don't want to see you. Number 5, even though there have unfortunately been a couple of these events, the Washington, D.C. shooting at the Armed Forces Base was just a sad thing to see because it seemed that it had actually gone silent. You know, there really wasn't any major talk about another shooting, and then this happened. Especially after all of the controversial discussions that politics were having towards guns. It's very hard to put up boundaries and walls for a subject such as this because you never truly know how the wrong person is going to end up with a gun. They may not get sold to these people, but they'll find a way somehow because we just live in a crazy world where anything is possible. Number 4 is quite a heartfelt moment for me, even though it may not be significant to most. Valerie Harper is a wonderful television actress. I have seen reruns of The Mary Tyler Moore Show and her spin-off Rhoda. A wholesome female role model, similar to Bonnie Franklin, who we lost last year, and Marsha Wallace, who we lost this year, to find out that she actually got terminal cancer, and yet she went on to Dancing with the Stars, to be, I guess you could say, her one last moment in the spotlight. The praise that she got, the hope that so many people felt when she actually went onto that show and just danced her troubles away, just shows us that even though she is truly, the fact that she is unfortunately embracing her death, just the fact that she went out there and lived life without any cares for a little while is just a very uplifting moment. Number 3 is probably one of the most humorous, maybe the most controversial, next to everything that happened with Anthony Weiner, but it was Seth MacFarlane hosting the Academy Awards and doing the We Saw Your Boobs montage. I absolutely loved the fact that he made this hysterical opening sequence, because the only person who could do it better is Billy Crystal, and he made it his own. He put his patented Seth MacFarlane spin on it. He threw William Shatner and Daniel Radcliffe and Charlize Theron and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Channing Tatum into this whole thing, and he just made something great. He made it funny. He made it different. I would have loved to see him host again, and the song is definitely something that I will truly hold dear as one of his greatest achievements. Number 2, very important, it was the states all across the US that are now officially open to gay marriage. It's so funny how it was taboo very, very recently, just a few decades ago, and now it's something that people are finally starting to embrace. I mean, sure, it's, to some, maybe not natural, to some, disgusting, and something that no one should really see, but it's a way of life. I may not be a part of that community, nor do I have any friends that are homosexual. I respect them for who they are. I respect the fact that they are among us, and I am truly happy that they can truly now go out, at least in parts of the United States, and say to the person that they truly care about in the open, I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And the fact that nobody can do anything about it anymore is great. And number 1 goes to the real crux that kind of flows into every single one of these categories, maybe not all, but some, and that's the government shutdown. I am not one that likes to talk about politics because people's opinions can start to flare and things can be said that can be quite spiteful and hurtful to others, but the thing that upsets me the most is the fact that the government is like kindergartners in a playground. These people don't know how to work together. They don't respect the president. The House doesn't respect the Senate, and vice versa. What we need to understand is the fact that whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you have to stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about the people as a whole. I don't know what it was like way back in the day. I know that there has always been corruption, there has always been greed, and there will always, unfortunately, be human nature unless we get replaced by giant robots. And I'm just hoping that one day, because unfortunately right now, as an American, I can blatantly say the country is a mess. It's an absolute mess. I don't know who it will be that will finally step up and pull a Franklin Roosevelt or a John F. Kennedy or a Ronald Reagan and just say, listen, we have to stop and we have to work together and make this country good again. 10 for 12, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Voice your opinions if you choose to. Tell me what you thought were some of the most life-changing events that have happened as far as major events in the world. If you think that I left something out that has to be acknowledged, please put that in the box below as well. And I will be dedicating this video to the great Nelson Mandela. Even though I never grew up or even have been to South Africa, I truly understand what he did, and I am truly proud to know that he had lived a full life of freedom after being imprisoned for his deeds. And I'm glad to know that in the end, he did leave this world with a smile on his face, knowing that he made a difference. I am the Law Gnome, and remember that actions speak louder than words.